Thank you very much, High Representative, and welcome to Copenhagen. I wanted to start with a broad thought. Autocracy seems to be on the rise around the world. The results of the perception index are quite alarming. Is Europe really alone in defending this sort of liberal democratic model in the world at this stage?
I don't think we're alone. Actually, what I've seen is a lot of countries from around the world behind our doors wanting to cooperate and finding new ways to do that. And why is it so? Because, something that has been maybe our weakness, because we are so predictable and so boring, has become actually our strength, because there's a lot of unpredictability in the world. So we can build on that strength. Of course, we need to cooperate with the countries around the world who are not perfect democracies. If we only choose the countries that are perfect democracies, we can't also work with countries that are within European Union. But that's another topic. But it's clear that we need to find the ways to actually promote the values that we also stand for, because people clearly see that it brings benefits. It brings prosperity and the well-being of people.
Boring is good. We'll see if that's the next EU slogan.
Choose boring.
Choose boring. That's even so. Some countries seem to be having trouble making a choice between autocracy and democracy. You mentioned you were in the Western Balkans. Some of the leaders in that region decided to go to Moscow for the so-called victory parade. What would you say to them at this stage? Have they already made their choice in terms of which model to follow, or is the EU keeping its door open?
On the 9th of May, when Putin was having its parade, we were together with the foreign ministers of European Union, and not only European Union, but also Norway, UK, the Western Balkans. We were in Ukraine, and we visited a hospital in Lviv that is called Superhumans. So it is treating patients who have lost, one of their limbs, and it's one of those hospitals. There are 3 of a kind in Lviv, and then after that we went to the cemetery and in Lviv. So I was just seeing all this, human suffering, but a lot of broken bodies, but not broken souls. You can see, they clearly understand what they are fighting for, and you can break my body, but you can't break me. And I was like thinking about all those leaders who stand by the person whose decision it is to actually send the soldiers to die in Ukraine, to kill civilians, to kill other soldiers, bring about all this suffering. How can you really? I don't understand. How can you, say to yourself that this is the right thing to do? I want to be in the picture with that guy. So what I want to say to them, and I've already said, go to Ukraine, go and see yourself. You don't have the courage to go there. See yourself and then look into the mirror and ask yourself if you are on the right side of history.
Mm-hmm. Would you say they have set themselves back on the path to EU membership by doing something like that?
Well, it is clearly a big issue. I can tell you that one of those countries wanted to send the military to march there. It's like, can you imagine that, this is the biggest threat that we have to Europe, Russia. and you want to join European Union, and then you send your military to march together with the forces that are actually attacking European security. How can you then really defend this and say that, oh, we want to take this military, enemy within? I mean, it will be a complete no-go for many European countries, and it is hard. I mean, show me who are your friends, and I will tell you who you are. I mean, it is. We have 27 member states in Europe, and I can already tell, 10 for whom this is highly problematic.
Right. Right. I understand you're doing a lot of traveling as befits your job. You just come here from London, where you're with a group of EU foreign leaders. You urge Putin to respect the 30-day ceasefire. The question is, what's next from the European side? He doesn't seem to. There were more drone attacks this morning. What do you see as the next steps to keep up pressure?
Yeah. It is clear that in order to have peace, you need at least 2-to-1 peace. It only takes 1-to-1 war. And we see Putin has shown very clearly that he still wants war. And I think it's extremely important because, they wanted also in the global south to make them believe the narrative that, Europeans or Ukrainians are these warmongers, they want war, but, Putin is a peaceful person, just attacking, and killing some civilians. They really bought this narrative, but now everybody can see that this is not the case. I mean, it has been 60 days since Ukraine agreed to full and unconditional ceasefire, whereas we haven't seen that from Russia's side. We have seen that Russia is playing games. So now, of course, we have been united, saying that, okay, a ceasefire so that they can sit down behind the table and discuss peace. But we need to see some goodwill on the Russian side. So what we can do is, of course, to put more pressure on Russia to also want peace on their side. And the tools that we have in our hands are economical, so sanctions. And I also welcome the Lindsey Graham package that they are now discussing in Senate, which is very strong sanctions to really put the pressure on Russia. So I think this is sending a very good signal that also the Americans understand that in order to end this war, in order to end this killing, you should put the pressure on the one who is doing the killing.
Right, right. And the United States has really been so far leading these kind of bilateral talks with Russia and Ukraine. Do you think, how has Putin behaved in those talks? Is he being a trustworthy partner for Donald Trump? And what would you say to Donald Trump?
But there hasn't been any bilateral talks with Ukraine and Russia. There has been shuttle diplomacy, really, and not with, there has been envoys from United States going there, but I think it is important to keep in mind that nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine, really. I mean, if we see them agreeing to things and coming back to ideas that are completely unacceptable for Ukraine or for Europe, for that matter, then it can't really fly. But I think I understand what the Americans are trying to do is to really keep the door open so that, Russia would come to the table. And that's why they haven't maybe put that much pressure on Russia. But now it has been over 60 days. And we need to see then some other steps so that you would see Putin around that negotiation table.
Right. And on Thursday, what do you expect Zelensky just confirmed this morning that he will go to Ankara? Do you expect to see other leaders around that table, do you think?
Well, it's a big question. I think Zelensky did well to say that, okay, I'm willing to meet Putin and let him come. I don't know if we are off the camera or on the camera here, but if I can share my opinion, I don't know.
No, please do.
It always gets me in trouble if I do that.
That's definitely on.
So it's hard. It's hard. But I think it's a good move if they sit down. I think it should be between then Zelensky and Putin, but I don't think he dares Putin, I guess.
All right. One of that we talked about raising the pressure on Russia. You mentioned a 17th package of sanctions, but there are obstacles. There are countries in Europe that are standing in the way of that sanctions policy. What do you think? Does Europe have to take steps to safeguard its sanctions policy, its security policy, to make sure that one country can't derail the whole thing? Yeah, and how would that work? Mm-hmm.
Yes. First, we are working on the 17th package, and so far, let's hope tomorrow is one day when we will see whether we have an agreement or not. But I'm positive that we are moving with this, and then of course preparing other packages as well. Now, coming to your question, then
tomorrow. So you think there might agreement on sanctions?
No. Tomorrow is the big meeting of ambassadors, so we get the feeling what kind of fights we are up to. So
right.
So far. Mm-hmm. I don't know what I have to do, but in general terms, of course, it is a big problem, and that's why we are intensively doing the thinking how to overcome that problem. And I can tell you, we have prepared some different possibilities to overcome that. But the first aim is to have the agreement by everybody, and I hope we will get there. Right now, I'm optimistic.
I'm gonna take we have questions from our audience coming in here. Here's one that I like. Will the EU be willing to move ahead with confiscating assets worth 300 million? I think that's an underestimate. It's more like 300 billion, and making them available for the reconstruction of Ukraine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Again, my position is very clear. Personal opinion on this is that it is not fair that our taxpayers need to pay for something that we haven't destroyed. It's Russia that is doing the destroying. And as a lawyer, I can find a way out of this problem. We have the assets, so Russia has a legitimate claim towards us. Ukraine has a legitimate claim towards Russia to compensate for the damages that they have caused. So we can find a solution there. Say that, we are settling from this pot that we have for the reconstruction, and then if there's anything left over, we can give it back. But we don't have the decision by everybody, because, as you know, these assets are not evenly distributed across member states. So some, to say one particularly, is bearing the most burden. So what is my approach now? Of course, these things entail risks, but I think it's important that we really think about mitigation of those risks, because we need to have an exit strategy as well. We can't possibly imagine that, Russia hasn't paid the damages to Ukraine, and then we will simply give back what we actually have in our hands and start to claim it from Russia. It is, in Estonian we have a saying that better a small bird in the hand than the big bird on the roof. So So we have the small bird. Let's not give the small bird away when we can actually use that. But we are working on that to bring everybody on board to go forward with the proposal.
Yeah. I want to take you to the Middle East for a second, because you're not just focused on Russia and the European neighborhood. You're spending a lot of time over there. The other day, you got a letter from the Dutch foreign minister sounding the alarm about the humanitarian situation in Gaza, and he asked to review the EU-Israel Association Agreement. I wonder, have you prepared a response? Have you thought about how you might want to respond to him?
No, I mean, this is a big problem. And of course, before that letter, I had also, expressed and talked to the minister of Israel and proposed, different things. Because, the problem is the humanitarian aid. When they are saying that, it's weaponized by Hamas and only given to people that are close to Hamas, it's like, but then the response would be, float Gaza with humanitarian aid so that there would be no deficit, and it can't be used. Like you say, it can. So we are also offering, our help. We have the EU-BAM Rafah border crossing mission. I mean, we are also ready to increase this to help with the distribution of humanitarian aid, but we are not allowed to. So, for me, it is immense frustration that we can't really do anything. So, of course, discussion about this agreement we will have. I know what it's going to be the end result, because I know the positions of the member states. And even if we would, suspend this agreement, it wouldn't stop the killing, and that is the problem. What I'm where the frustration comes, because we all see this is untenable, the loss of life, the human suffering, and we really need to help them. We are together, with the Arab countries discussing what can we do, but again, we need our American friends on board to understand that this situation is completely untenable.
Well, we heard you there. Flood the Gaza with aid. Your call to Israel. Thank you so much, High Representative. Thank you for this interview. I will be staying on stage. I think you get to have a break. Okay.